So what that means is I oversee three different types of applied learning. So I oversee internships, study abroad, and service learning. So applied learning is basically learning by doing. And often when we think about applied learning, we think about things like the internships, study abroad, clinical experiences that our health science students need to do, and some other ones. But we often don't think about research as applied learning, but it is, and it's an important part of applied learning, where students do something independently, often in this case, like with the mentorship of a faculty member, and they take information, they learn things, they take that information and create some new knowledge, and then share it out. And so that's what we're here to do today. We've got 3 students here with us today to do exactly that. They have gone above and beyond their normal, academic requirements to create new knowledge, to do research and create new knowledge. And now they're going to share that with us today. So I'll turn it over now to the faculty mentor who worked with these students on the research, Dr. Gould.
Hello, my name is Dr. Olga Gould, and at the time our research projects were in progress, I was a professor for my students Leiska Wende, Malika Sultanova, and Andriy Zvarich. I offered my students the opportunity to participate in a real IRB-approved research studies, and they grabbed this opportunity. I would like to make a statement. America is a country of great opportunities. We have many more talented students at our State University of New York and at area college, but there were these 3 brave ones, talented ones, prodigious ones who grabbed the opportunity, stepped in and conducted real studies with research participants, not mock, not classroom studies, real ones. They went further than that. They actually shared their research findings with large international communities at the greatest American and international conferences, congresses, and symposia. Today, Andriy Zvarich, Malika Sultanova, and Leiska Wende, SUNY IRI graduates of 2021, will be sharing their research findings with the communities at IRI Community College and State University of New York as a whole. We have pre-recorded our presentations for today, and we will start in a while.
Hello, my name is Dr. Olga Gould, and today I'm happy to introduce you to Mr. Andriy Zvarich, a SUNY Area College graduate of 2021. Today he will be presenting his pilot study. Andriy, would you start, please?
Hello, my name is Andriy Zvarich, and today I want to present my PowerPoint presentation about effect from usage of cell phone technologies on college students. This qualitative case study was conducted as a pilot research project in 2019-2020. The proposal for this study was accepted at State University of New York Undergraduate Research Conference, CIRC 2020, and International Congress of Qualitative Inquiry 2020, Urbana-Champaign, Illinois. Unfortunately, COVID-19 interrupted all the events planned for the year of 2020. So nevertheless, in 2021, our team of SUNY researchers, Professor Dr. Olga Gould, CGA President Malika Sultanova, Leiska Wende, and myself, Andriy Zvarich, reapplied, were accepted, and are in the process of presenting our research findings at the International ARA Conference, ICQI Congress, and ICAN Symposium. So today I'm presenting my pilot study. Before I start to brief you on my research finding, I want you to provide with a glimpse of the history of cell phone. So Motorola was the first company to produce a handheld mobile phone. On April 3, 1973, Martin Cooper, a Motorola researcher and executive, made the first mobile telephone call from handheld subscriber equipment. Also, the earlier cell phone cost about $40,000, but the cell phones that you saw on the screen cost between $3,000 and $4,000. So my introduction, problems statement, research questions were: do American college students use their phones for academic purposes? And might there be some negative impact from using cell phones on students' health? My research method, that was a qualitative case study. For my study, I recruited 2 international participants. I used convenient sampling method. So basically, I spread the recruitment message by the word of the mouth. And also I conducted a series of semi-structured interview with my participants in the college settings. The theory and literature overview. I grounded my study in Bronfenburn's 1979 ecological system theory. So it's mean we are not alone in this world. We're surrounded with another people, with family, with instructors, with professors. Also, through my review of literature, I found that cell phones cause additional and unneeded distraction in the classroom. At least 30% of information is lost when texting during a lecture. And as many as 89% of students shifted their attention from their lectures to leisure activities. And frequent texting during the class resulted in less note-taking and lower score on multiple choice tests. Here I want to present you some brief video about why the cell phone should be banned in the classroom.
Good evening. A bauxite teacher just proved to his students why cell phones are banned in his classroom.
THV 11's Jordan Howington tells us the outcome is shocking.
Yeah, bauxite history teacher Nick Findley put those nagging teen questions to rest. Why can't we keep our phones at our desk? And by doing his own classroom experiment. In a world revolving around technology,
109, I believe.
the numbers don't lie as time ticks by in Coach Findley's advisory class.
26.
Students tally up every alert they get on their phones in the 25-minute period.
Here at Bauxite, it's part of our student handbook.
That written rule,
During class, they make us turn off our phones and put them up.
teens like to question.
If our kids had our phones out during learning, how much of a distraction that would be.
Another one.
So he's putting those everyday questions to rest. Finley conducted his own experiment. In each class, students set their phones by their desks, and every time they heard an alert, a tally added to the board. In fifth period Thursday,
I'm looking at the tally board right now, and that's just an insane amount.
the class had a total of 200 Snapchat alerts, 1 Facebook, 5 Twitter, 12 Instagram, 23 text messages, 8 phone calls, 8 YouTube, and 10 other alerts, totaling 267 vibrating and ringing alerts in 25 minutes.
We're kind of amazed by the results. I think some of them were just kind of almost in disbelief of how many times that would happen.
Did you realize that your phone goes off that much in a short span of time?
No.
Finley making his point, saying his students finally caught on. For every alert comes distraction, taking away from their learning.
We want our kids to be able to take away something from their class period to better them for the future.
And for some public schools, cell phones are encouraged in the classroom. Students use them as learning tools. But Coach Finley said he's gotten a lot of great feedback from other teachers and parents on why Bauxite chooses to separate students from their phones in class. And he said it all comes down to this. Every time a student gets distracted by their phone in class, they lose new knowledge.
Let's keep going.
So I think this video it was a good support of why a cell phone should be banned in a classroom setting. Could you please go to slide number 8? Up. Yeah. So to continue my literature overview, I want to provide you with some health problems from a cell phone. So how do the cell phone affect our health? First of all, mobile phones emit radiation, which presents a serious danger for your health. Also, this radiation negatively affects your ears, vision, brain, and heart. The radiation may cause even cancer. It may also trigger a heart attack. Also, I found some evidence from a literature that Baltimore neurologist Dr. Christopher G. Newman had been suffering from the usage of the cell phone. Paraskandala, 2001. Your future is in your hands. Medical experts are warning men not to keep their mobile phones in their pockets, as this can have a direct effect on their fertility. Keeping cell phone in a treasure pockets is extremely harmful. Most men have a 50 to 85% of sperm with normal movement. The researchers found this proportion fell by an average of 8% when there was exposure to mobile phone. So you have to think twice before you overuse your phone or use even your phone. And here I want to provide you with another video about the harmful effect of the cell phone on your health.
We live in a world full of people who are more often glued to their cell phones. In fact, most of us are so attached to our phones that we feel restless the moment we part from it, even if it's just to use the washroom. And if you find yourself relating to this, there is a good chance that you're addicted to your smartphone. This dependency on smartphones comes with a range of harmful effects on your health and well-being. Let's have a look into few prominent negative effects. Number 1. Causes stress, anxiety, and depression. People are in a constant state of anxiety when it comes to cell phone use due to the need to stay connected all the time. This phone-induced anxiety operates on a positive feedback loop, which can only be relieved by looking at the phone and using it. The long-term effects of both stress and anxiety include chronic mental health problems and physical ailments. Number 2. Disrupts sleep patterns. For many of us, smartphone is the last thing we look at before bed, and the first thing we look at the moment we wake up. Studies have indicated that long periods of exposure to short wavelength light causes adolescent sleep to become irregular, short, and delayed. And since most schools and workplaces require individuals to wake up early in the day, the circadian rhythm gets disrupted and also disrupts your overall health. Number 3. Reduce attention, concentration, and academic performance. Research has found that the presence of smartphones around us can cause our concentration and attention levels to dip, even when people try and avoid the temptation to check their phones. This happens due to the awareness of a missed text message on call or an unchecked notification, which remains predominant in the mind of the individual, taking away any attention from the task they. Number 4. Increase the risk of cancer. Cell phones emit radio waves which can be absorbed by the tissues that are close to the area of contact. This form of radiation is possibly carcinogenic. Children are at more risk than adults to be affected by the radiation, as their nervous systems might be still developing. The American Cancer Society recommends individuals who are concerned about radio frequency exposure to limit their exposure to phones, including using an earpiece and limiting cell phone use, particularly among children. So, to safeguard you from these serious health conditions, avoid excessive use of cell phones.
So here you were able to see how many harmful effects the cell phone has on your health. So now I want to discuss. I want to transition and discuss my research process. So I conducted my research in an urban college in one of the cities in the northeastern state of the United States. Also, I recruited and interviewed 2 international student subjects. I'm not going to relieve any information what the city was. I'm going to keep it in a confidence, also the name of my participants. My findings was that both subjects had the cell phones. Most of the time, they used phones for communications, Google Map, social media, and translated works. Also, to increase scores on the exams, they left their phones in a car or at home. Cell phones distracted them a lot. They did not know that the cell phone emit radiation, which can cause cancer or of internal organs, problem with hearing, vision, or trigger depression. In my conclusion and implication for college students, using the cell phones for communication and social media, also they using phones during the lecture cause distractions to instructors and the students. As a result, a whole class, just for one people use a cell phone, a whole class may have lower scores on a test or exams. Also, it have a possible health problem, such as the deterioration of vision, hearing impairment, different types of cancers, and depressions. So my implications, I would suggest you to not use your phone, especially overuse your phone. Keep it your phone from a treasure pockets, also upper jacket pockets, so it's not close to your heart. Also try to use more earbuds than the cell phone, so it's not touch at your ears and it's not produce radiation to your brain. And the less you use your phone, it's better to your life. Also, I use the references to my PowerPoint presentations. You can see here, and also you can go to these websites and to find more information about my presentations. And thank you for watching this PowerPoint presentation, and stay in touch. If you have any questions or concerns, please email me by my college email.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Malika Sultanova. I'll be graduating from SUNY Erie this spring, and my major is natural science. We conducted our research with my former professor, Dr. Gold. We already presented on American Educational Research Association, and our research topic is media literacy during the coronavirus pandemic, microethnography on mass media related American college students. Dr. Gold, do you want to proceed?
Yes, sure. Hello, my name is Dr. Gold, and I'm Malika Sultanova's co-researcher. We both are co-investigators on this project. Yes, we did study whether or not mass media and social media might trigger anxiety in American college students. I will introduce you to the problem and to our research questions. These days, not too many people possess media literacy. Not too many of us had taken classes on media literacy in our colleges and public schools. So we decided to check whether or not social media and mass media might have negative impact on the emotional and psychological condition of college students. It's not a secret for anybody that our young people spend a lot of time in social nets, in social media. That's where they get the information about what's happening in the world. So we decided to investigate the following question: whether or not mass media and social media might trigger anxiety and lead to depression and panic attacks in college students. At the time when we had started designing our project, we couldn't even have thought about what our project might find. Nevertheless, in 2020, situation globally and in the United States has changed unpredictably and dramatically. So that's why our initial project got this unusual and unexpected direction. Would you talk about Syrian literature, Malika, or you want me to cover this topic?
Yeah, sure. We grounded our microethnographic case study. First of all, we researched and we found a lot of interesting topics on Google and other resources, and we find out that mass media has a huge, enormous impact on students, and the mass media can actually cause anxiety and panic attacks. And people.
Malika, I will interrupt Malika for a while. I will just explain why we have selected Vygotsky's social constructivism theory for our research. A human being never exists by him or herself. We are surrounded and we are strongly affected by our environment where we exist. It can be our college, our family, our culture, our country. So whatever is happening around strongly affects human beings. That's why we grounded our research on mass media and social media effect on college students. We grounded it in Vygotsky social culture theory. And also we thought about Zibert et al. Social responsibility theory, because we believe that social media and mass media need to carry some social responsibility in front of our society. And a human being, according to Zibert et al., is able to discern between truth and falsehood. But we assumed that it's not always so. So Malika started to debrief you on the findings of our research. I interrupted you just because I wanted to explain a little bit about where we conducted our research, with whom, how we were collecting data. Could you tell a little bit about it, Malika?
Yes. So our findings were based on Dr. Gold. She was her part was observing social media. She would take notes and she would check Facebook and other social nets, and she would also check the newspapers and the news. And my part was interviewing two international students that were in the United States, and I actually find a lot of interesting stuff, and they faced a lot of challenges during the pandemic. And one of the most important and the hardest things that they've experienced was going on social media and seeing a lot of mess over there. So they didn't know how to differentiate between the fake news and the real news, and they said that they started believing everything, and that's what caused them anxiety, and for some of them even panic attacks.
Okay, thank you, Malika. So I would just add that all the data that we collected from social nets, we collected in tables on daily basis. We checked social nets and social media such as Facebook, for example, several times a day, and all the data, every post, the character of the posts, we entered into the tables to see how the posts are changing over the period of the COVID pandemics. So the initial posts on social media were of humorous character. People who were observing social distancing and special hygiene rules were ridiculed in social media. That is why the social disobedience movement was triggered. Regardless of warnings from the Ministry of Education and from the government, students started disobeying these rules. Our research participants reported that they were having unwanted and uninvited visitors during the lockdown. And this triggered anxiety in them because they tried to be careful to not meet with anyone. But as the social media were pushing onto the audiences, this posts ridiculing careful and cautious people, So very many students just ignored the rules and visited their friends instead of sitting and studying at home. Malika, would you also share a little bit about our research participants who anticipated being sent back to their home countries?
Oh yeah, in the middle of pandemic in July, there was the new rule that came out saying that international students should be sent home since they're not taking classes on campus. And this caused a lot of mess too, especially on social media. And students were posting small short videos on TikTok and Instagram saying that it's unfair. And I think it was ridiculous because in the middle of all this mess, there was something else that caused more anxiety and more stress on students. The other thing I want to add is that my interviewers, they said that since the classes were online, it was much more harder for them, especially for those who have a language barrier. And one of my participants, she had some health problems, and while taking the exam, she was told by her professor that she cheated, even though she didn't. Her one eye was looking a little bit to the left, and the professor thought that she was cheating, even though it was a health issue.
Medical condition. So with the vision of that student, so you probably have heard about this medical condition when even when a person tries to look straight in front of them, if the eye muscles disobey that student, the impression is that the student is looking sideways. Not only a student, this can happen to a person in any age. People get born with this medical condition. So as Malika has just stated, anxiety in our research participants, and we can hypothesize our findings to much larger student populations. That anxiety was triggered by multiple factors. This promise to send international students out of the country triggered a lot of anxiety. Then when this all calmed down, the students started worrying about their families back at home because, as we found through our observations of social media, the character of posts on Facebook and other social media available to our students has changed. Instead of ridiculing people who observe the rules of social distancing and washing their hands and being precautious and so on, the posts changed. Closer to May and June, there were a lot of posts about burying people who died of COVID, dead bodies being found in the streets, doctors who get infected and die, police officers who are trying to help people in the streets, like homeless people, get infected. And also some of them die, some of them are in very serious condition. Necrologues appeared in social media. So all this contributed to enormous anxiety because our research participants started worrying about their families back at home. We will show you the findings through our media observations, such as New York Times, Al Jazeera, CNN, and so on. You see two charts in our appendices. The upper chart shows the condition during the first months of pandemics. You see in blue, USA, new cases of COVID-19 rocketed in our country because the borders were not closed and people just were bringing to us new cases from all over the world. We randomly have selected Italy as one of the European countries, and we randomly have selected Iran as one of the Middle Eastern countries. We didn't observe the situation in Australia and in Africa because on those continents things didn't look bad at all. But in US things were really very bad. And if you look at the lower graph, you will see a little bit different picture. This graph depicts the condition with situation with deaths of COVID-19. The United States had the lowest amount of deaths because our country is about 40, 50 years ahead of the planet in terms of medical research and achievement. But the things were very bad in Iran and in Italy. You see that in China, red line, the situation is very steady, but that's exactly because media did not report or underreported or provided the false information to population, and that's what triggered this hatred to Asian populations about which we have heard on TV. People started believing that this virus doesn't affect the Asian populations, while it is affecting badly European, African American, and other layers of population. This triggered hatred. This is all due to falsified information placed on media. So back to our discussion and conclusions, Malika. So what conclusions have we drawn after having summarized, synthesized all the data that we had analyzed and placed in charts, graphs, according to Saldana's theme and value coding, when we were looking for recurring themes in our participant interviews and social media posts, when we were looking for values, looking for what was valuable for our participants. So we summarized, emphasized all that information and drew our conclusions. What you sounded in terms of media literacy, Malika, and our college students and younger students?
Yes, we concluded that media literacy knowledge is very important for not only for the younger generation, but also for the older generations. And we came to conclusion that media literacy classes should be taught in colleges, and not only right now, not only students cannot differentiate between fake and real news, but this also and not only students, the professors, some of the professors, they also cannot differentiate, and that's why I think that it's very important to teach media literacy classes in college or even in high school.
Right. Well, we questioned, I will return back a little bit, our research participants, where did they get all that knowledge? For example, that they had to run to the store, buy whatever it was possible to buy. By the way, they did so, and they found empty counters. The panic was triggered nationwide and globally. People were buying whatever they could have bought. So we questioned our research participants, where did they get this information about necessity to go and shop and buy whatever is possible to be bought? And the reply was from social media, So as you see, social media posts were not verified, were not questioned on the subject of whether it's true or false, can lead to severe cases of anxiety in our young population, such as college students, for example, and even larger layers of population. So Malika is absolutely right. Education in the area of media literacy need to be embedded into the curricula, starting with pre-K and kindergarten, where our kids do already have access to technologies and social nets, throughout the whole period of schooling, elementary, middle, and high, and definitely in colleges. And as Malika stated, professors also need professional development in the area of media literacy, and it will be absolutely necessary to embed media literacy education courses into college curricula. That was a major implication of our study.
Yes, and I also want to add that everyone that posts anything on social media should be questioned about whatever they post, because there are some people who just randomly go on Facebook or any other social networks and just read it, and they get some health issues, they get panic attacks and anxiety, which affects others.
Right. What Malika has just sounded leads us back to Zibbert's social responsibility theory and Vygotsky's social constructism theory. Yes, we all need to be responsible for what we are doing, for what we are posting and reposting. So because we can contribute to social disobedience movement, which has been started a while ago, this all can contribute strongly to anxiety, to panic attacks, depression, which may lead to lower academic achievement, lower results on tests and exams, according to the findings of our research, which we conducted with our research participants. Thank you very much for your attention. That was about that. Yes, Malika?
Thank you very much for attending and giving us an opportunity to share our findings.
with the SUNY area college professors, instructors, professionals, and students. It was for you guys. We tried our best for you. So verify what you are reading. Do not repost. You never know who posted it, for what reason, as a joke or with some certain purpose. Do not repost, do not trust, do not buy what you are being sold to. Check whether it's false or true before you draw your conclusions. All the best.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Dr. Olga Gold. Today, I'm happy to introduce to you Mr. Les Kapwende, SUNY Area College graduate of 2021. Les, would you proceed, please? Introduce yourself.
Hello, my name is Les Kapwende. I'm a student at ECC Erie Community College. I'm a graduate of 2021. Thank you.
Today, we will introduce you to our research findings. Our project title was Per Aspera ad Astra, which means, in the Latin language, through hardships to the stars. So the title of the project sounds Per Aspera ad Astra, through poverty to higher education, an autoethnographic case study. We conducted our IRB-approved study in 2019-2020 as a team of researchers, which included myself, Dr. Olga Gold, Ms. Marika Sultanova, SUNY Area SJ President, and the winner of the President Medal Award of 2021, Andris Varic, AS, and Les Kapwende, AS, both SUNY Area graduates of 2021. Our proposals were accepted to several international and regional and national conferences in 2020, but our presentations and all our plans were interrupted by COVID-19. Nevertheless, we reapplied, were accepted again in 2021, and in January, together with Les, we presented at an International Symposium of Autoethnography and Narration. We presented this exactly research, and today we are going to share the findings with you. Also, I need to reveal some information about Les and myself. We are going to present again another study at Norman Denzen's International Congress of Qualitative Inquiry 2021 at the University of Illinois in Urbana-Champaign. This will be in May. So I will debrief you a little bit on our method, theory, literature overview, and Les will introduce you to findings. So we designed and conducted our IRB-approved autoethnographic case study in an urban college in one of the American cities in the northeastern state. We will not reveal the name of the city, the name of the college, and the names of our research participants. We will keep it confidentially. So there were 4 of us participating in this research. 2 researchers participants and 2 subjects. Dr. Olga Gold, myself as an MU professor currently, but at that time I was a State University of New York professor. Ms. Les Kapwende, SUNY student, Ms. Aisha and Mr. Elombi. These are pseudonyms. We will not disclose the identity of our participants, as this is one of the major rules of the research, to keep all information confidentially. We grounded our project, our autoethnographic case study, in social constructivism theory by Bronfenbrenner and Morris and Vygotsky. As you can see in this image, a human in the center never exists alone. We all are surrounded by our family members, friends, peers, by college professors, by other professionals who live in our city, by the country, and the chronotop, the time where we live. So a human being is never alone, is never alone. A human being is being always influenced by the surrounding, each of us. And that's very important. With our research, we will try to positively influence you, your achievement, your future. This was the purpose of our study. The major question of our research was to understand whether or not perceived or factual poverty may have negative effects on college students' academic achievement. We implemented thematic coding for our data analysis. We focused on recurring themes and patterns as proposed by Johnny Saldani in 2013-14. And now, when you know a little bit about our project, Lace will share with you what we have found from the interviews with our research participants. Will you proceed, Lace?
Yes. Revelation from Lace. I was born in one of the Central African countries. Both of my parents were educated and employed. They were a doctor of medicine and a college professor. Nevertheless, my family could not afford sending all three of their children to school at the same time. My parents could afford sending us to school one at a time. This means that I could stop my elementary education only after my elder brother had graduated from his high school. Regardless of me and my sister being twins, she had to wait to start her schooling until my graduation from high school. So I know the price and the value of education. Revelation from Lombe. Compared to my peer experiences in my own country, in Africa, there are no poor people in America, except for the totally helpless and homeless. Back in my country, many people, just like myself, have to survive without any social security, financial help, free food, and other programs. Homelessness and starvation is not an exception of the rule, but habitual reality for many of my country fellow men. Since my early childhood, I had to live in the street along with my friends who also lost their parents. We lived in a shelter we made of cardboard boxes. We had no food, no possessions, no opportunity to go to school. No one would give us food. One morning we woke up, but not all of us got to make it that morning. One of our friends died. He did not get to wake up that day. His death was not caused by any illness. The cause of his death was the starvation. Famine, nothing wrong with his health, just hunger. So here in America, I treasure education and other opportunities because I know what it is. I know what it means to not have any. Revelation from Aisha. I do not believe a rich or a well-to-do person can put an equal effort on an endeavor in his or her education compared to myself. Why would healthy people work as hard as I do? They do already have everything that had not been earned by them, but was simply given to them at birth. I'm working twice as hard as I start from point zero. A student from an influenced family does already have all the assets which I will need to earn. Potentially, I can achieve higher because whatever I do, I put a double effort in it.
Revelations from Olga, from myself. I consider the hardships I encountered throughout my life being temporary difficulties. Now, when I'm looking back at my life, which has been longer than half a century by now, I realize that all those years were filled with temporary difficulties. I have to say that being hungry for prolonged periods of time has nothing in common with dieting. Back in the countries of Eastern Europe, where I lived, studied, and worked, Teachers were simply not paid their wages for months. We all reported to work and did our best educating our students, many of whom looked underfed and exhausted, just like ourselves, due to never-ending financial struggles of those times. On many days, I could not pay public transportation fees to get to my school, to say nothing about buying some food or medication. Luckily, some compassionate families would always give me a ride to school in their cars. I didn't have any car then. If I ever have a chance to talk to my students again, I will ask them to forgive me for how much knowledge I had to give them, but I could not, due to my feeling dizzy, exhausted, and weak from daily prolonged hunger, from having nothing to eat. So the major findings of our research are that stoic endeavors and self-developed stamina helped each of us four, thus may help other college students from disadvantaged families and communities achieve higher academically. All four of us strongly believe that our achievements are not final yet. We are dedicated to achieve higher for the benefit of our local and global societies. We decided to present at the International Symposium of Autoethnography and Narration 2021 and at the International Congress of Qualitative Inquiry, and now we are presenting for State University of New York Area College so that we are able to send our message to the prospective and current students. And our message is as follows. We state that hardships and struggles are temporary difficulties if you set your educational and career goals the way we did, and do not surrender to any temporary circumstances. Our research is of high significance, guys. The high significance of our study is that based on our personal experiences as research participants, combined with the revelations and suggestions from our research subjects, we came out with a range of very useful academic survival strategies for students from disadvantaged families and communities. Some of the strategies are perseverance, self-discipline, character education, self-help, and looking for help, goal setting, time management, scheduling, pacing, just to name a few. We plan to publish our paper with many more details and more detailed description of these strategies. Would you proceed, Liz, please?
Yes, ma'am. More research is needed with larger numbers of domestic and international participants with the purpose to identify more working strategies, which had helped representatives from disadvantaged areas, families, and communities to achieve academically and succeed in their educational and professional careers.
Thank you, Liz. So, guys, to put it in brief, to put the long story in brief, we were able to overcome the hardships, long chains of endless hardships. We were able, and we are still on the way to further success, and that's what we are wishing to you. Just brace yourself, be strong, be prepared to face even more and even harder times. Be prepared, do not get lost. We have overcome starvation and famine. We have survived through the hardest life periods in our lives. We are sharing our experiences with you so that you did never lose your hope. The people who give in and give up are the people who lose hope. So just don't. Keep moving. Keep going. This is our major message. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us through our college email. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you.
You're muted, Dr. Gould.
Now, when our students have presented, we will give them an opportunity to say a couple of words. about their future plans, about where they're standing now in their programs? Andrei, Malika, Lace?
Yes, I can go first. Well, my plan, since in my life I've experienced a lot of up and down, and I've got it to, I've learned a lot from, and now I found myself in a country that has many opportunities. So I'm not taking this for granted. That's like number one thing that I'm seeing right now is to put is putting I mean to put my education as the first my priority, if I can say that. And my goal right now is to become a doctor. I know I have a very long way to go, but I believe in myself that I'm gonna make it. Um, my major is natural science. I'm finishing this year at ECC, and then I'm gonna go to UB, and then from there I'm gonna continue and finish. So therefore, I'm encouraging whoever who's gonna watch us later or who's watching us today or right now. I'm encouraging you to not give up. Whatever that you do, just put your efforts in it. Keep pushing, push harder. We are in a free country, a lot of opportunities. Why can't we take it? Why can't we take it? Let's focus. Let's push harder, and we're gonna make it. Thank you.
Thank you, Lace. Lace is going to be a doctor of medicine. Same about Malika. We have another future doctor here. Malika, would you say a couple of words?
Um, First of all, can you guys hear me? Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, keep going.
Yes.
I'll keep my camera off
Yes, keep
because
going.
of my internet connection. Okay.
Sure, keep going.
First of all, I want to thank everyone for attending, and I want to thank SUNY Erie for this great opportunity and International Student Office. I want to thank Dr. Gold, Andre, and Lace for their very informative and very engaging presentations. Yeah, my plans are I'll be graduating this spring from SUNY Erie, and I'll be transferring to University of Buffalo. And I want to get my bachelor's and then get my doctor's degree in dentistry.
Best of luck with that, Malika. Malika is following the tradition of her family. For doctors, starting off Avicenna or Ibn Sina, that's where Malika family takes the roots, and that's where it all started. Malika's father is a doctor of medicine. Now Malika wants to become a doctor. We have another future doctor here, and it's Andris Varic. But he will be a little bit different doctor. He decided to be a doctor of philosophy. A couple of words, Andriy.
No, I'm not sure if I'm gonna be doctor of philosophy.
Will be.
So yeah, I came from Ukraine, and I decided that in this country, I have to get some education to not work as hard as I'm doing right now. So my major is criminal justice and law enforcement. I want to become a maybe police officer or border patrol officer. I don't know. I didn't decide yet. But I really like to wear a uniform because I used to be a firefighter in Ukraine. And the reason why I came here because our government very corrupt, and they don't want to pay us as much as we have as we deserve it. And after graduating from ECC, I'm planning to transfer to Canisius College to continue my education and get my bachelor degree. And from there, I'm trying to go to the field.
Of philosophy. It's my question.
Maybe.
I would like to thank SUNY Area College for this opportunity for our team of researchers to present today. Thank you very much. My years with SUNY Area and with State University of New York as a whole were the happiest years in my life. And I believe that's how my students feel too. That's what I know from my communication with them. So best of luck to everybody who is graduating now or who will graduate soon from SUNY Area. Best of luck, guys. This is a country of opportunities. This is the message you have just heard from each of us. So best of luck. Just do not give up. Do not give in. Keep going. Keep going. Best of luck from all of us.
Thank you.